I used to be this proud, broke guy. All I ever wanted was Jenny's love. After she blacklisted me once, I got smarter. I accepted the resources she offered. But I stopped loving her. Later, she got in a car accident. While she was in the hospital, I was abroad for Fashion Week. Once I got back, I joined the crew. When she finally got better and got out, she hugged me, eyes red with tears, and wouldn't let go. I got in a car accident. I looked at her, confused, saying nothing. She gritted her teeth, eyes full of unhidden frustration. Not once, not even once did you come see me. I always knew Jenny and I were worlds apart. I believed I didn't need her resources. We were just ordinary boyfriend and girlfriend. She was my girl. I was her guy. I liked her. She liked me. But then, she tore apart that little fantasy of mine. On the 10th day after Jenny blacklisted me, my manager, Sam, knocked on my door in frustration. When I opened the door, his angry face softened seeing my worn-out appearance. He paused, then sighed and walked in. "Henry, don't you get it by now? You and Jenny? You're not from the same world. She's the president of M Group. You're just a celebrity with no real background." He sat heavily on the couch, earnestly trying to talk sense into me. I listened without expression, pouring him water. "What love? Do you really think there's love between you two? If there was, could she have blacklisted you so easily? Look at you now." He pulled out a mirror from his bag and tilted my head to see my disheveled state. Could it get worse than that day? My voice was hoarse. Each word felt pushed out from my throat. I looked at my reflection, unmoved. He knew I was talking about that Best Actor award night, how the clip of me watching the host announce the winner, filled with confidence, went viral. I didn't win, and the camera caught my terrible expression splashed across screens. Despite my quick, stiff smile and applause, people said I was a sore loser. Sam sighed again. "I've told you all along, you two aren't suitable. Make the most of your time, grab resources and networks from her while you're still young. Stand taller and farther. You're just a lovesick fool. Nothing gets through to you." He was exasperated with me. Those days I was drinking a lot, slowing my thoughts. Maybe that's why I didn't feel the expected sting in my chest. Jenny and I had been together since high school. In that wealthy school, being smart but not connected was tough. Yet Jenny created a haven for me. In the evenings, she would sit beside me, absent-mindedly playing with my hair while I wrote. Suddenly, she leaned in, eyes shining, and smiled warmly. Interested in dating? Her bright, clear eyes overlapped with those icy ones looking down at me years later in the garden. "Henry, you'll regret it." By regret, she meant when I accidentally overheard her saying there was no future for us and broke up with her. I used to maintain this facade of equality in love with my pathetic pride. She'd laugh and say I could ask her for whatever resources I needed. No need to work so hard for them. I loved hugging her, poking her unhappily. "I don't want that. I want to earn it myself so no one thinks I'm with you for the wrong reasons." She'd just pat my head with a helpless smile. Now I laughed. Screw love. That night I went to our so-called home. I sat calmly on the bed, every inch of the place echoing with our love. There were cameras. My fingerprint wasn't erased. She knew I'd return. Just like she used to say, "Henry, you'll regret it." Yeah, I regretted it, believing in pure love. Soon enough, I heard a car pulling in downstairs. By the time I snapped back, she was already in the doorway. Jenny stood silently, watching me. My lashes fluttered, Sam's words echoing. "People in her circle marry within their circle. Stop chasing this idea of love. Did she ever really plan to marry you? Wake up, kid." I bit my lip, walked barefoot towards her. When I reached her, I stopped and picked her up. She stayed silent, didn't stop me, just watched. Whenever we fought, I'd wait for her and wrap my arms around her, swinging, not mad anymore. I laid her on the bed, crouched to look up at her, then slowly unbuttoned her shirt one by one. I met her fiery gaze. My lips brushed her exposed shoulder gently. She suddenly hooked her arms around my neck, pulling me down. She landed softly atop me. She kissed my forehead, voice husky. "Learn your lesson?" I looked down, hiding the emotions flooding my eyes. Maybe my demeanor intrigued her. She guided my hand down. Feeling the cold material, she bit my earlobe playfully, sighing, "Go on." Once everything calmed, I lay listening to her breathing. I stared at the dark ceiling, moving her arms wrapped around me aside gently. Finally, I closed my eyes tight. After my comeback, I landed an S+ level production. Sitting in the trailer, I flipped through the script, thinking, what was I ever so proud of before? Back in the day, I was never one to butter up Jenny, especially because of wanting stuff from her. Even when I was just starting out with no real opportunities, hopping from one acting gig to another, I couldn't bring myself to ask for anything. I guess I was secretly dreaming that if I ever hit it big with a TV show, like really blew up, maybe her family would see me differently. But I forgot, to those rich families, I'm just an actor. No matter how successful, still an actor. It's such a paradox, being broke yet feeling all high-minded. The first snow in City A came pretty early this year. I was sitting under the canopy, clutching a hand warmer and reading my script. Suddenly Sam shouted, "Henry, look over there." I looked where he was pointing, and there was Jenny, dressed in a black coat, walking towards me through the snow. Seeing her, I quickly hid the indifference in my eyes and put on a happy face, then got up and walked over to her. She smiled, stretched out her arms, and we hugged tightly. I softened my voice and asked, "Weren't you supposed to come back tomorrow?" She cupped my face and leaned up to plant a kiss on my corner of my lips. "Surprise," she said. I just smiled without saying a word. After a while, she told me, "I'm picking you up tonight to hang out." Hearing that, I replied, "But I usually have to film till after midnight, and with this snow scene, every crew is kinda..." Before I could finish, she reached out to pinch my cheek, saying, "I already talked to the director." I opened my mouth, speechless, and then just nodded with a smile. "Okay, your call." That evening, we ended up in a private room. I recognized everyone there from back in high school. They grew up with Jenny. I used to try really hard to win over the people around her. Now, I just quietly sat by Jenny's side, not bothered by the looks being exchanged around me. After a bit, the guest of honor arrived. A man walked in, sporting a bespoke suit from the latest collection. It was Peter, known as Jenny's suitor among her family. Went abroad for college, I think. He merely glanced at me before sitting beside Jenny. One of the guys jokingly said, "Did going abroad make you better looking or what?" His comment broke the ice, and everyone started chatting. Peter laughed and said, "Come on, guys, quit teasing." Then he turned to Jenny and asked, "Is it true, Jenny?" As I took a sip of my drink, I didn't look at Jenny's expression, but I heard her quietly reply, "Yeah." When the food was served, I kept my head down, eating. They were reminiscing about their childhood, which I wasn't a part of. I used to feel down because I couldn't join in and understand their inside jokes. Not anymore. Someone started talking about how Jenny always said, "Peter will only ever marry me." The room fell silent. In this industry, I've learned to tune out things I don't want to hear. It's become a habit. Feeling the quiet, I lifted my head in confusion. I met Jenny's dark eyes. Having been with her for years, I could read her mood from the smallest changes. She was upset, but I didn't get why. Then Peter spoke up, "Hey, watch it. Can't you see Jenny's boyfriend is here?" I kept a polite smile on my face, glancing at Peter, who didn't look apologetic. I felt indifferent, careless. I'm no longer Jenny's boyfriend, just a convenient partner in some arrangement, not needing emotional investments. Back at the villa that night, Jenny had a bit to drink. There was a faint alcohol smell. That night, she was wild, her eyes smoldering with anger. I couldn't figure out her frustration. At first, I could keep up with her pace, but she couldn't seem to exhaust her fury. In the following days, even after I texted Jenny a few times, she didn't reply. I didn't bother texting after that. Got to focus on filming. I'm staying at a hotel because of the distance. One day, while I was building a snowman, Sam ran over, unbothered about appearances, in a long puffer coat, phone in hand, showing it to me. The top trending topic was about a glamorous couple of the high society world. He clicked into it, and there was a photo of a woman linking arms with a man, the background glitzy and grand, probably at some event. Jenny had one of those bright and elegant looks. The photo showed her in a gold gown, looking graceful, with hair tied up, eyes soft as water. Peter was in a black suit, tall with a hint of a smile. They look pretty good together, I commented with a laugh. They're from families of equal standing, childhood friends. I diverted my eyes, thinking that even without me, they'd have still made a storybook couple. Regardless, with or without me, they'd end up together, like how in stories the villain always gets their comeuppance, and the hero and heroine end up together. People are always fascinated by the affairs of the rich. Someone posted a fuzzy photo of Jenny and Peter online. One day, after finishing a night shoot, as I got into the car, my manager was furiously staring at their phone, eyebrows knitted, seemingly trying to burn a hole into it. I leaned back, shut my eyes. Then suddenly, my manager pointed to a blurry image on the phone and asked, "Is this you?" Hearing this, I leisurely opened my eyes and gave it a glance. Once I looked closely, I paused. This zoomed-in, unclear image was from under an aerial walkway in City S. I was there shooting a film because of a problem with an overseas collaboration, so I was stuck for 3 months. City S was sweltering. The evening breeze by the river was warm. I was in a loose tank top, using a little fan to cool down, and during a break, I wanted to call her. But I didn't want to disturb her work, so I sent her pictures of the riverside, saying how beautiful and fun it was here. Sitting on a small stool, I lowered my gaze to study the script, sipping on an ice-cold bubble tea. Suddenly, a shadow fell on the script. Curiously, I looked up. Jenny looked down at me and smiled as the evening breeze tousled her wavy hair. Just then, the light rail zoomed by. I jumped up, thrilled, and hugged her. "You're back. Wasn't it supposed to be a while longer?" She had a playful twinkle in her eye. "Didn't somebody say they'd use magic to bring me back to you?" I blushed at her words. It had been so long, and I really missed her. Biting my lip, I couldn't hide my joy and motioned for her to lean down. She chuckled softly and obliged. Smiling, I asked, "Did you miss me?" She nodded with a smile, Hearing that, my eyes curved into smiles, and I tilted my head to kiss the corner of her lips. This moment is captured perfectly in a photo someone took of the light rail, unknowingly capturing us beneath it. I turned my head to look outside the window. The streets were bustling, and neon lights painted a vibrant scene on the glass. From 17 to 26, I really thought we'd last forever and get married. When I was dreaming of our future, Jenny had already made up her mind. Marrying me wasn't a good deal for her. Jenny and Peter hit the trending news again today. By then, I had just finished filming and returned to the villa. After a shower, I headed to bed. When I woke up, it was dark outside, and Jenny had snuck in at some point and held me as she slept. She was a light sleeper. When I shifted slightly, her arm tightened around my waist with a raspy voice. "Awake?" I nodded softly, turned back over, and opened my eyes with a smile. "Jenny, Eric's got a new show he wants to produce, and I want to play the lead." Her dark eyes were watching me, probably thinking something. "Will you let me?" I teased, eyes wide with anticipation. She suddenly gave me this odd smile. I reached to cup her face, just about to kiss her, when she abruptly got up, grabbed her jacket and stormed out. I sat up, baffled, running barefoot after her and hugged her from behind. "What's wrong? Why are you suddenly so mad?" The room fell into silence. It was confusing. Could it be something Peter did? "Don't you have something to ask me?" she asked, staring at me intently. "Do you still love me?" I lied without blinking, of course. How could I not love you? I tried to lighten her mood, but she didn't look happy, just held me tightly, listening to her heartbeat. Then softly said, "Really? I got a few days off and hadn't got a straight answer from Jenny about what I asked last time." I sat on the couch, frowning, and looked upstairs. Didn't she say that besides love, she'd give me everything I wanted? She couldn't even give me a lead role. What happens when she and Peter get engaged? I won't get anything. I remembered a photo my agent had shown me, the blurry figure. Could it be Peter? If the internet doesn't know, those who know Peter would. Do me a favor. I said with a smile to my agent on the phone. Don't worry, nothing's gonna happen. In this business, I've seen couples everyone envies in the spotlight who fall apart in pursuit of fame. I think I've graduated from this class of growing up. When Jenny's mom cornered me in the dressing room, I saw it coming. I waved off the agent and assistant's worried looks. Jenny's mom eyed me with cold disdain, dismissed her guards, and sat down. Henry, she sneered, saying my name like she saw through me. I grinned. It's not what you think. She threw a photo on the table. That's you in the picture, right? And you made sure it got to me, didn't you? Her finger, dressed with an emerald ring, tapped the table. Speak up. What's your price to leave my daughter? I knew my moment, whispering, I want resources that will skyrocket my career. The room fell silent. She coldly eyed me. I can make sure Henry doesn't exist in this industry tomorrow. I trusted her threat, but replied, Jenny won't allow that. She loves me. We've been together since 17. She wouldn't abandon me. She seemed angrier but then said, I'll agree, but you must do something for me. I didn't hesitate. Okay. She queried. You don't even know what it is? I tilted my head. You want Jenny with Peter? Don't you? Surprised, she laughed. Talking with smart people is easier. As she picked up her purse, she said, I'm waiting on good news, Henry. The Fashion Week flight doesn't wait. I saw her out with a smirk. Who knows, maybe it's fate. Jenny's longtime friend, Ariana, returned from abroad. The girl who chased a guy to study abroad returned after completing her Ph.D. By the time I arrived, most guests had left. Jenny, slightly flushed from drinking, lay on the couch, eyes shut. Ariana was by the window on a call. Almost done. I'll be home soon. From her tone, things must have ended well. After hanging up, she adjusted her glasses and greeted me. Henry, it's been a while. I gently laughed, sitting beside Jenny. Planning to stay? Yeah, my parents need looking after. She added, Don't blame Jenny. I'm the reason she had a few drinks. I had disliked Jenny drinking, which always led to arguments, so she stopped. Ariana didn't know what's between us now, but after tonight she will. She came over to help me lift Jenny and walk her out. I chuckled. It's been a while. It's normal to have some drinks. By the way, doesn't she have a suite here? Let's take her there. I'm worried she might feel sick and throw up in the car. This 5-star hotel is under the M Group, and Jenny has her own suite here. All right, I thanked Ariana with a smile. After she left, I went back, sat on the bed, and quietly watched Jenny lying there. Through the huge floor-to-ceiling window, the dark outside was speckled with faint lights. The room was silent, except for Jenny's gentle breathing. Her eyes were tightly shut, her hair scattered on her forehead, giving her an unusual look of innocence. I looked down and chuckled softly. What do you think? If 17-year-old Henry and Jenny saw us now, what would they think? Silence was my only answer. I kept talking anyway. They'd probably be really upset because I slowly moved my phone towards her. We really did like each other, didn't we? But Jenny, remember, you were the one who gave up on us. Everything I'm doing now is just to make sure my 9-year youth doesn't look like a joke. I was about to leave when Jenny, who had been quietly sleeping, suddenly murmured my name restlessly. Henry, Henry. I looked at her and, without a word, took off the matching ring we bought in college and tossed it in the trash before heading to the door. At the door, I hesitated for a second, then opened it abruptly. Peter was standing outside, looking like a winner. He had a confident smile on his perfectly made-up face. Henry, I told you, you guys won't last. Back in high school, when Peter learned Jenny and I were together, his first reaction wasn't anger. Instead, he confidently looked down on me with disdain in his eyes. Henry, you won't last. Teenage love is reckless and passionate, so I never took Peter's words seriously back then. But now I see he was right. During our teenage years, class differences didn't seem so clear. Growing up, we see skyscrapers towering over us, and after the initial dizziness, there's an endless longing for money and power. Everyone wants to reach the top and look down on everything. Congrats in advance, I said, stepping aside to let Peter walk in with a grin. Thanks. When the time comes, we won't invite you to our wedding. I walked out. The business car had been waiting for a long time, and by early morning, I was on a flight abroad. The next day, the news about Jenny and Peter's engagement blew up online. The first post either came from the M Group's official blog congratulating them or from the Y Group. Right after, news of the M Group's president having a car accident surfaced but got quickly pulled down. By the fourth day, Jenny was much better. Many people visited her in the ward, and her stuff was often cleared out. Her pale face was silent. She lay on her bed, occasionally glancing at her phone, seeing post after post about Henry doing something in entertainment. Sometimes she'd look at people coming through the door, but it never seemed to be him. Ariana sat in the chair, breathing a small sigh, texted her husband she'd be late, and put her phone away. She remembered the events of that day clearly. When she got Jenny's call and rushed to the hotel, she was stunned. She saw families leaving in a hurry, busy with wedding plans, and in the suite, there was Peter, eyes red and lying on the bed, not Henry. She hesitated for a moment but immediately understood. Henry had sent Peter to Jenny's bed himself. Even she could guess it, let alone Jenny. But what she couldn't understand was why Henry did it. Ariana remembered them as being deeply in love, full of affection when looking at each other. How did it turn out like this? Ariana watched her, eyes red, make a call and then, looking utterly disheartened, get up to take her keys. When she chased her down, she could only see her speeding off towards the airport. Jenny called Henry many times until she finally got through on her last try. There was silence on the other end. Jenny, eyes red with anger, shouted, "Henry, how could you do this to me? You set me up with someone else." Her hands were shaking as she clutched the steering wheel. When I received that call, I was already dressed in a tailored suit sent by the brand and was sitting in a private car they provided. These were perks I never had before. My agent shook her head, signaling me not to provoke Jenny. She was worried about a repeat of career-blocking incidents. But I knew it wouldn't happen again. In a soft, gentle voice, I replied, "Jenny, you said you wouldn't marry me, so I'm just helping you marry someone you want. Shouldn't you be happy?" I couldn't understand why she wasn't reacting as expected. Isn't this what she wanted? After a long pause, with a hoarse voice, she pleaded, "Can we talk? Wait for me, let's talk. You can't do this to me." I chuckled softly, "Jenny, what's there to talk about? There's nothing left to say. What I've done is for your good. You should be thanking me, Jenny. Don't come. I'm hanging up, because there wouldn't be any resolution between us." At the moment she collided with the barrier, memories flashed through Jenny's mind. In the end, she remembered the first time they met. Henry was tricked into the equipment room, and the door was shut hard from the outside. Coincidentally, Jenny was in the equipment room too, in the back. She heard the heavy door shut. She angrily took out her phone to text someone to open the door for her. Then, she saw Henry, not crying or causing a fuss, but finding a spot by the window to study by the light coming in. Curious, she watched the unusual boy until the squeaky sound distracted her. Looking down, she was terrified to see several dark mice sniffing their way towards her. When he heard the commotion, Henry quickly looked up, puzzled to see her, clearly not expecting another person here. As she looked horrified, she heard the guy say softly, "Don't be scared, but be careful. Watch out for them biting you." Jenny thought he was joking, but seeing his serious face said otherwise. Not caring about appearances, she shuffled over to stand next to him. Henry looked up, meeting her gaze, completely at a loss. In a flash, Jenny imagined seeing Henry in his school uniform, smiling at her from the light. It was a smile she hadn't seen in ages. After coming back from Fashion Week abroad, I joined the crew. During that time, Ariana came looking for me. She was leaning against a tree, eyebrows furrowed, clearly not understanding why things turned out this way between us. Lowering my gaze to the script, I knew she and Jenny were fundamentally different. Ariana had chased after a boy since high school, determined to marry him when she grew up. Through all these years, her heart never wavered. She had seen us in love, so she couldn't believe Jenny didn't love me anymore. No telling how long had passed, but the sun had set. She sighed softly, saying to me, "You should go see her. Maybe there's some misunderstanding. You've been together for almost 9 years. How can feelings from 9 years just vanish?" Hearing this, I pulled my thoughts from the script and said to her, resting my chin in my hand, "Did you know what I studied in college?" She nodded lightly. "Management," Jenny told me. I chuckled. "Lately, I remembered something from college, a principle called diminishing marginal utility. Do you know what the curve for marginal utility looks like?" With a smile in my eyes, I stretched out my right hand, gesturing with my fingers. "Little Red really loved cream puffs," I continued. On her way home from work, she'd pass by a famous cream puff shop. Every day, she looked forward to buying one. Sometimes, she'd even buy a few if her cravings were too strong. It was a happy routine, and the cream puffs were just delicious. Then one day, walking home, she passed by the shop again. "What do you think happened this time?" I asked with a sly smile. She furrowed her brows, thinking hard but stayed silent. I looked down at the little grass sprouting from the dusty ground, swaying in the wind. But this time, instead of rushing in with joy, she stood at the door, and the scent, once irresistible, now made her feel queasy. She had to run away from there. My voice was calm. From that day on, she never bought a cream puff again. Just the smell was enough to make her nauseous. When marginal utility hits zero, if consumption increases, overall utility decreases instead. Back when I studied it, I focused on distinguishing similar graphs for exams. Years later, I found that such economic concepts also apply to relationships. The shoot was up in the mountains, with a gentle, unhurried breeze. After a long silence, Ariana finally left. Watching her go, I slowly pulled my gaze back just as the director called me over. I picked up my script and went to him. After the dust settled, I slightly turned. In a blur, Jenny, wearing a white shirt, who had just come from work, laughed as she poked the battle scars on my face. "Don't mess up my makeup, or the director will yell at me." She squinted her eyes, as if, "Our Henry is such a great actor. Too bad they don't see him as the lead." I hurriedly covered her mouth, eyes wide in mock fear. "You trying to get me in trouble?" All right, I was wrong," Jenny said with a laugh, raising her hands in surrender. Ariana had said it's impossible for our 9-year love to just vanish. But some problems are unsolvable, revealing themselves as such only when you realize you missed a condition or misread a number. From the start, we were wrong. Wasting paper, wasting time. How tragic. Our beginning was a mistake, wrong from start to finish. A few months later, after a political drama I starred in went viral, my fan count skyrocketed by millions. All eyes were on me during that time. The investors threw a celebration party, where I saw Jenny after a long while. She looked thinner, her face more defined. Scars from her accident broke the flow of her eyebrows, making her unapproachable. The director wanted me to toast Jenny, the biggest investor. Facing Jenny's unreadable dark eyes, I calmly raised my glass, smiling. "We're not enemies, are we?" "Thanks, Jenny." Jenny downed her drink, staring at me intensely. The atmosphere shifted, seasoned onlookers casting glances between us. I ignored what they might think. Why not leverage the M Group's name? Only a fool wouldn't. During the party, I got up to go to the restroom. On my way back, Jenny unexpectedly pulled me into a stall. Her eyes were red as she hugged me tightly. "Henry, I was in a car accident." I stared at her, speechless. Gritting her teeth, eyes filled with unhidden resentment. "You never came to see me, not even once." I touched the scar on her brow and smiled at her. "But you had your parents and your fiancé at the hospital. What would I do there?" "This week, Henry, I'll handle it. Trust me." She clutched my wrist desperately, voice urgent, tears welling up in her eyes. "Once it's all sorted, let's get married. All right?" Tilting my head, "Of course not. Didn't you say it yourself? We won't get married." As I finished, I watched Jenny's smile disappear, realizing what she had said before. Her face turned pale. "Henry, enough, I should go. Dragging this out is rude. Later, while I was abroad, I got news from back home. Jenny broke off her engagement with Peter. Peter called me like a madman. Gone was his elite demeanor, replaced with wild, angry curses. Henry, you bastard, what did you do? It was all going according to plan. Why'd you ruin everything? Why? I held my phone at a distance, speaking with innocence. Peter, why are you yelling at me? It's not like I'm engaged to you. I'm abroad now. What can I even do? You're losing it, barking up the wrong tree. It's you. There's no one else who could make her break off the engagement with me. Our marriage was only beneficial. If it weren't for you, she wouldn't have done it, he said with a sinister tone. I laughed, Peter. Did we ever make a deal? Did I ever promise you anything? Don't think I don't know what you told Jenny's mom that day. You sent her straight to my bed. Want to bet? If I tell Jenny now, she won't let you off easy. I arched an eyebrow and said to the phone's mic, I'm waiting. Another winter came. After wrapping up a scene, Jenny stood under a street lamp as if numb, snow covering her. Her manager frowned with pity. With all this snow, maybe we should let her go back. I glanced coldly from inside the car. If she wants to stand, let her. Since she broke off the engagement with Peter, she's been following me around like a die-hard fan. But I fell into this pit once. The wounds barely healed and I won't fall in again. That afternoon, after filming, there was a college girl on set. Her smile was bright, and she seemed to have endless energy every day. After work, she stood under a barren tree, occasionally shaking the snow off her head. I thought to have my manager invite her into the RV to sit for a bit, but then a guy in a black puffer coat with a satchel showed up. Her eyes lit up immediately, and she ran into his arms. I happened to come out just then. The street was quiet, and the guy held her, full of concern. Why wait here for me? What if you catch a cold? The girl's voice was filled with laughter. I was worried you wouldn't find me. I've missed you so much. You were gone for the competition for so long, and I couldn't see you. I wanted to see you right away. All right, let's go have hot pot, he said, smiling as he kissed her. He put her hand in his pocket. The warm streetlights stretched their intertwined shadows, and my eyes instinctively followed them. To be that age again. Henry, could we start over? Jenny appeared behind me, her voice nasally, eyes reddened with tears. I looked up at the starless sky, blinking lightly. I hope this is the last time I say this. Don't come around anymore. I really don't like you anymore. All my feelings for you died that night, in the 10 days after you shut me out. Wrapped in my coat, I looked at her with eyes empty of emotion, stating a fact. Jenny's lips were pale, her eyes misty as she looked longingly at the couple walking away. We used to be like that, she said softly. Henry, I'm sorry. She tugged at a corner of her mouth, taking a deep breath of cold air before shaking her head with self-mockery. I seemed to forget my original intention with M Group was for our future. When I gained control of M Group, it wouldn't matter if my parents objected to us being together. I'd marry you no matter what, she said, voicing her steadfast belief at 20. But sitting in that position, she continued, I found that marrying you seemed to bring no benefit. I thought I should marry someone from a similar background, someone who could help elevate M Group. But then, gradually, you seemed not to love me anymore. You said you did, but your eyes lost that sparkle, she said as a tear fell. But how could you not love me, Henry? How could we not be in love? The snow fell again, heavy and thick. I turned away and left. We met in the heat of summer, fell in love at a tender but passionate 17. Our love peaked at 18. That summer we received the same acceptance letter. Sadly, we didn't wait for the next summer before drifting apart. We parted ways this winter, never to meet again, no need to. Much like a high school math test, if there's only one answer in the multiple choice questions, picking just that one you're sure of is the optimal choice. Yet, many are tempted to select a couple of others they feel might be right. Take the gamble and get 5 points. Get it wrong, lose it all. Gamblers always hope, what if? What if I'm just that lucky? On the way back, my heart felt opened, cold winds rushing in from every direction. Too bad I wasn't that lucky one. But also, luckily, I am that lucky one.